Okay. So just a quick little synopsis. The case describes the dilemma of founder and CEO Aaron Kennedy as he seeks to grow the company from within while balancing the pressures of other competitors trying to push their way into the fast casual foods category. As they grow, they face the difficult decisions on how to meet the pace of the budding company while maintaining their culture. Um, so just like a brief little, I don't know, reminder. So a fast casual segment are restaurants that offer like the high quality and creative like foods, but they're sold at like a better price and like it's faster service. Um, and so they were kind of like some of the first ones to start that. So from like what you guys read, what did you think some of the challenges that Noodles and Company were facing, like specifically within that category of fast casual?
Well, it's one of the fastest growing restaurant industries, like in
Mm-hmm.
demand. And so you have a lot of competition. And so you've got to be good at what you do to bring people back or they won't come back.
Yeah.
And they struggled with the quality of their food in the beginning, which I thought was interesting. So,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think one of the things too is that I think the first two restaurants that they had, they weren't ones that they could specifically design themselves, like from scratch. So, I mean, you have this vision that you have for like this restaurant that you want this nice environment you have when people walk in, but then it's kind of tempered a bit because you have, you know, a certain floor plan that you have to work with. And so I don't think it was until like their third restaurant where they could actually like build it the way they wanted it. I don't remember, but I feel like that would have been a challenge, like to try to, because you have this vision and trying to get it out there and in a restaurant format. I feel like that'd be kind of hard to do. But it seems like they definitely got it down. I've never been to one, but it seems like they've got that environment down eventually. So
one just opened down the street from my house, like literally a couple weeks
um,
ago. I'm like, man, I gotta go check it out.
there you
Nice.
go.
Yeah.
Have you been? Is it good?
I've never been, but I'm thinking I gotta check it out this weekend.
Yeah.
One of the areas that I served in, like we would go every Thursday after district meeting. Like the whole zone would go to Noodles and Company.
Oh wow.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that one was pretty good. So
Yeah. I've eaten there a lot because my work goes there a lot. Some of the dishes are not as good as others. So if you do
yeah.
go and you're into like, my favorite one is Japanese pan noodles with steak.
Sounds good.
That
But
does sound good.
but they do
Too bad
like,
they don't have one of those in Rexburg.
yeah. Well, yeah. I shouldn't eat out as much as I do, but they do like a coupon buy one get one free. That's when I go eat there. Because then you get 2 meals for one. Anyway,
Nice.
okay, sorry. One thing I was going to say is like one of the things, issues at hand is where they want to take the company. Like if they are, well, it talked a lot about that first in market compared to best in market, or how did they word it? I can't remember. Anyway,
Yes. So okay, go ahead.
no, you're good. Yeah, was it first to market or best in market? Anyway, so they need to decide that, like what one's more important to them as far as that goes. And then also with like franchising, like they were going to do the 50% franchise or something. I don't know.
Well, they were thinking about it. They
Thinking of
haven't
it.
done it
Yeah,
yet.
that's
Mhm.
true. Yeah, they were thinking that was like the option they
An
were going to.
option.
Yeah. So,
I thought it was kind of cool to read about how when they started it, it wasn't their like anyone's full time gig. It was like this side project. They all had these other jobs because they had to run a life. Like they weren't these wealthy guys who had an idea
mhm.
for the days of crowdfunding. So they just had to kind of
Yeah, so do you think that like them working full time while trying to develop this new business was a good idea or a bad idea? Like from their business standpoint, like their employer and everything.
Hmm.
Like working full time with Noodles.
Like working full time somewhere else, like at the very beginning when they were
Oh,
doing that, like plus trying to open this new business. Like, do you think that was a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it's just a realistic idea. Like it's
Yeah.
reality. So I just liked
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. I feel like they made it work, like, because he was upfront with his employer, like, he didn't have long-term plans to be there, right? So I think that was wise to be, I don't know, transparent in that way. I think they made it work. It might not be ideal, but like Jasmine said, it's realistic. So,
Yeah, and I think that's what made it okay for them to do it is he told his employer, "Hey, like I'm not going to be here for that long. I'm starting my own company, but like I'll be
mhm,
here before."
right.
yeah, that was good. He mentioned that to him. I feel like it just depends on the situation you're in. I mean, he had a small family at home, and you know, it's just kind of you got to make ends meet. And his wife had a steady job, but I feel like he played his cards right, and when he was in, he was all in. I don't know. It's kind of a tricky situation because you want to obviously bring home the bacon, but you don't want to not dedicate too much time to your new business. So
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Um so do you think that like Noodles and Company will be able to maintain have already like through all of this growth that they're having? Or like if they do decide to franchise or like all those options?
repeat the question. Sorry.
So do you think that they'll be able to keep the like the culture that they have in their company through all the growth that they're having?
Hmm.
I think it's definitely a big challenge, but depends on how much they make it a priority and the like training requirements for every manager and every employee.
Yeah.
I talked about if they do franchise, it's definitely going to affect their culture because they enter a third party. So if they want to keep the
Mhm.
culture, then franchising right now may not be the perfect option, maybe in the future, but I think they can still grow and keep the culture right now if
Yeah.
they implement kind of how they want things to be done.
Well, it seems like culture is really important, and at least in my paper, I kind of focused on it would be better to open less locations every year and do it on your own than bring in that unknown third party.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a little more control. And I think with that fast dine-in service industry, you can oversaturate the market too much. And I think you have to be careful. And I just think with their projections at how fast they want to grow, you want to go into an area and kind of be the unique place.
Yeah. Well,
I
something.
don't know. In Utah, it's like you have Cafe Rio and then like just the next street over is like Costa Vida. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel like kind of what Ray was saying, like there are places that you go into that are the same everywhere you go, like Five Guys, Chipotle, In and Out. Like you can definitely find that growth and still maintain the culture. And I feel like Kennedy was doing a good job of that, like treating his employees really well and just kind of maintaining that like quality culture of Noodles and Company. I feel like he was doing a really good job with that, and I feel like franchising that probably is a legitimate fear. Like, well, we're gonna lose some of this culture that we have and everything, and it's definitely doable, like Ray said, to expand but keep that as well, like that culture you have.
Mhm.
Yeah, something that I talked about in mine was that if they do decide to franchise, then I think it's really important that they like drill the culture into like whoever is gonna be franchising, because like if that third party understands where Noodles and Company is coming from, then I think they'll have a little bit better chance to have the culture like continue on.
True.
It's true.
Point. Like really make it a focus, like a key emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other thoughts on that?
Well, I think, I don't know, in another class we did a case study similar about franchising, and we had a kid in our group who worked for like McDonald's corporate or whatever. He'd done an internship there, and he said he can tell by walking into a McDonald's if it's a franchise location or a corporate one, and the corporate ones are run better than these franchised ones. And so I think that's something you do have to worry about, because even if you do think you've drilled it into the culture, you know, the third-party franchisor, you can't control it.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard the term "too many chief and not enough Indians"? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because Kennedy is a co-CEO, and then you have the franchise, and then there's just a lot of contradicting opinions when it comes, because the franchise is gonna act on everything. So just
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So this goes back to what Kristen was saying a few minutes ago. But should Noodles and Company choose a strategy to be first to market or best to market? What do you guys think?
I think it's a hard decision, because in one way you want to be the first in the market. I don't know, if you like start out strong in the market, then you have a good chance, like as long as you satisfy your customers and they like what you have, it's good. But so I think they're both important. I don't know what's better, because you also want to be the best, so then that you keep having customers come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's definitely pros to each. But I feel like if you really, really believe in what you're doing, like, and believe in your restaurant, your product, whatever you're doing, like, and if you focus to be the best, I feel like that would be more beneficial in the long run, than being the first. But I don't know, there are perks in both of them for sure. So, it's a good question.
with their like vision, it's like every guest, every bowl, every time, something like that. So they definitely have to keep to that vision, and then that would affect like that decision. Like I can, like they're definitely something that wants to get the food fast, but they're also focusing like on freshness, kind of like Chipotle, like you were saying before. So they're like first the best.
Yeah.
In a way. So like they know they're not gonna try to like beat McDonald's and like being like the right off the door. So their competition's more like Chipotle, like something like there's noodles is theirs, burritos and Mexicans like Chipotle's like. So they're kind of in that area, like they want to be quick enough but fresh enough.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but like Chipotle a few months ago, maybe several months ago, but like they kind of had this scare, like a lot of people got sick because of the meat or something like that.
Yeah, it was
like,
last year.
Yeah, so like Chipotle is like very well established, and like I love that place to death. And so like I feel like they are one of the best on the market out there. And so like, yeah, it obviously hurt them, but they're still going to be around and be profitable. Because they have put like so much effort into the quality and like the atmosphere and culture of it, that I think they'll be okay after something like that.
Yeah, well, because they had a good backup of their customers. Like during that time when that like scare happened and a bunch of their stores closed, my companion and I went every Monday after we went shopping on P-Day. And my mom emailed me. She's like, "You have to stop going. Like, you're gonna get sick and die." I'm like, "But Mom, like, it's fine. Like, it's a good place." Like
Yeah.
I trust it. And so they had
And
that
after-
like good, I don't know, good backup.
Yeah. And after stuff like that happens, like Chipotle is gonna be one of the safest places to eat now, just because like they're gonna make sure that's not gonna happen again.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I may be getting off topic now.
All right. So with the whole like every guest, every bowl, every time little mantra that they have, how did you guys think that that helped them from like corporate's point of view to maintain the culture in the company? Like what role did that little slogan have?
What role did the slogan have, or what role did corporate have?
What role did the slogan have?
Well, I
So-
loved
oh.
how Central Support employees spent 2 days working in a Noodles and Company restaurant when they joined the company and returned for a day every 6 months to remind them of who it was they were serving, frontline employees and customers. I think that everyone, even the corporate people, touched that customer, touched the bowl, experienced it, lived it. So it
Mhm.
wasn't just the saying you say at the beginning of your meeting kind of thing. It was what they did.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I was gonna say, sorry, I always tie things back to my job, but before we merged, our slogan was like one patient, one surgeon, one patient. And I think this kind of relates to that. Like it brings more meaning into your job. Like, oh, I'm not just here to enter bills or do this data entry. What I'm doing affects this doctor and this patient. So like it makes you, I think it motivates employees, like when you understand like that vision of it, and the one bowl, whatever the Noodles and Company one is. I don't know. I think it makes it more meaningful and motivating to like really that every customer matters and they're paying for a service and you want to give them the best service you can. It's kind of like that book the book we're reading where Moses doesn't see himself as a janitor. He sees himself as part of the healing team. Like, I don't know, just seeing beyond your actual job, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Going along with what you're saying, like the vision is what keeps the business going and what directs the decisions it makes. It's what's kind of started the business, kind of like sitting in there in the New York noodle place, like the vision you had. And so every time you make a decision, Gandhi said once, like happiness is when you say what you think, when you believe, all match at the same time. And so same with the business, like what you do, what you believe, and how you do it is what's going to make the business successful. As long as it's all in harmony, you should be confident in your direction.
Yeah.
I like the focus that it gave them, and it like made them all like understand exactly what kind of like their one main goal was at work. And I really liked how it talked about the fact that like they were all a team and they all had like a certain part in like the experience of the customer. And when he like used the example of how I think he was talking about how they get like different bonuses and stuff for certain things, but how like even the kid in the back washing the dishes knows that they're part of the team and that like what they do matters. And so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it does bring like a feeling of unity within different positions. Like at my job, the sales reps know that we're trying to help that. You know, it is like a uniting thing.
Yeah. And I feel like corporate, they're going to do all they can to obviously make money. So like cutting costs, like they have to take that into account if they're going to like cut costs, if that might affect like the quality of the food or the quality of the service or, you know, anything to like maximize your profit. They have to like remember, okay, well, this is our motto, so is this really going to alter this too much? Is it going to change the culture and kind of what we believe in? So be a good reminder when they're making decisions to change things in the company as well.
Mm-hmm. True.
So then seeing what that little motto did for them and the like teamwork that they had at that point, like looking back at the beginning of when they first started, what differences did you see in like the team culture and the structure of the business?
What difference?
You said
Say that again.
Yeah, so like comparing how they were, like how the company was at the very beginning when it started with the culture to how like it ended up when he was trying to decide to franchise. What were some of the differences that you saw in those two like cultures and teamwork?
I feel like things probably even got better for him. Like in the beginning, I don't know. I don't remember much about the culture in the beginning, but he didn't get any of the financial statements till later, and kind of realized that he was kind of in a rut there. But once he started to, really get his team together and put like forth that effort, I feel like they kind of got their rhythm and they understood what their culture was and what their goal was, and they executed that. So I feel like it didn't change / maybe it even got better from what it was initially.
Yeah, I agree. I think it got way better. Because I feel like when they first started out, then they weren't quite sure like what they wanted their focus to be. Like Kennedy wanted his focus to be the customer, obviously, but I think they were still kind of all over the place with like the organization and what exactly they wanted. Like right at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they started to realize too, like what they wanted out of employees, and so they wanted 4 managers instead of 2 because they wanted their managers to have a life and enjoy work and not hate work and be better when they were there. And they started realizing too that the business went far beyond the money they were making, and how it had, they got involved in the communities and marketing and supporting schools and different things like that. So I think when they started to look beyond themselves at the bigger picture is when it really started clicking.
Yeah, that was good. They did that with that school. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what are the different options? We kind of talked about this, but what are their goals for expanding their company?
I guess this is where I get technical and I wonder kind of what happened, because the case, was in the early 2000s, right before the market tanked and real estate tanked and development tanked and all of that. I know they were wanting to increase like crazy. They want to go international. They wanted to do some of those things, and they were worried about capital going into all of that. And do you franchise? Do you not franchise? Do you pay for prime real estate so you're the first person in, or do you wait and see how development goes and then decide if you, I don't know. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting like how quickly they wanted to expand and like how many new stores. And so I don't know. I felt like franchising in that situation would help them a lot, just because, having those like one group of people that's trying to run all these stores and like start them, and they would have to travel to like all these different places, and like time-wise, it just kind of seemed crazy. not to mention like all the other factors. But
Mm-hmm.
I just keep thinking of like a child eating too many cookies and a stomach ache. Like they want them to grow so fast, and it's good, and they should grow as fast as they can, like to increase it, but just not bite off more than they can chew,
Yeah.
and still keep the culture.
yeah, and then there's the whole problem with like supply and demand, where if they have so many new stores and like locations, plus all the other restaurants that are starting to open in that same category, like there's going to be so many different options. You don't want to have too many stores so people don't end up going to them. I think that would be hard to balance.
Mhm.
And that's why I say it gets interesting, because it's what, 2006 at the end of this case? And that's right before things went south in 2008. And it's like eating out is kind of one of the first things people stop doing when money gets tight.
Yeah.
I just looked and they have not gone into Europe yet. That I can see.
Good to know. Good to know.
But they just opened one by your house, so they're still expanding to a certain extent, right?
Yeah,
it's true.
Station Park, baby.
Yeah.
Are
So
they international? Does it say? Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Is it
What
just in
did
the
you
US?
ask? Yeah, well, I just went to their website and it only shows in the United States.
Oh. Gotcha.
I didn't do any in-depth anything.
Makes sense.
So what would you guys have done in this situation? Like what do you think they should do?
So go for it. There you go.
Okay, so I think like they want to expand, right? And they want to keep their goal. So I feel like you would like figure out all the possible locations you'd expand, and then look at all the prime real estate versus like all the other options, and then kind of like obviously you do projections, making projections, and then you go move forward. And you try to get the best location, and you just move forward from that. And because you got to choose the places that make the most revenue first, that pace, instead of just franchising and just opening like 50 stores at once. It's like just go from real estate from best option at least. And then, so you're still meeting demands in those areas that want you all at once. Because then if you franchise, you have to hire new people, and you talk about hiring a vice president, and everything changes.
Yeah, well, and going along with that too, like with the franchising, they are totally new to that, and I just like what you were saying earlier, Ray, like I think eventually maybe they could get there, but right now it's smart to not do that, because yeah, like I wrote in my paper, they'd have to hire out these new people. They're new to that, so they don't quite know. I feel like they should fine-tune what they've done and keep doing what they're doing for a certain, I don't know, until they feel much more confident or something.
Yeah.
Well, the other option we haven't talked about is there's that licensing concept, which isn't franchising, but it's opening in certain places like airports or I don't know what bookstores. I don't know, kind of like what Starbucks does, which with their business model and the limited menu would be an option too.
Yeah.
There's two of them basically.
Yeah.
I went to one of them.
I think that's a good option. I feel like that's even like kind of something that Ray said, that you can just kind of like see your options and kind of test out real estate and see what's working. And I feel like what Kristen said as well is right. Like you want to make sure maybe like once you're in with the other smaller companies like that, or not smaller, but the fast food ones like that, like Chipotle and everything, like you want to make sure that you kind of compete with them, and then once you see that you're doing well, like yeah, you could do that. And there's one, where was it? Page, I don't remember the page, but it says that he brought on Mary Beth Lewis on board as the CFO. Mary Beth has done this before. She was the Wild Oats from before. She was with Wild Oats from before it went public, and took it through the IPO process and beyond. And so I feel like if he does want to do that option, he's hired the right people. He has the assets to do that. So I don't feel like he'd be in too big of a rush to do that, and shouldn't be too afraid to do it because he would have the help there on his side to get him through it. So
Yeah, I forgot about her.
knows what it takes to set up departments and develop systems. And so yeah, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that'd be beneficial if you were to do that option. So
Mm-hmm.
but I think, like you said, just kind of see how it goes at first, like expanding, picking good locations and everything, and then in the future, if you'd like to, there's no reason you should, as long as you can keep that, maintain that culture that you've created.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, does anyone else have any thoughts or comments about, I don't know, the structure or anything that they should do? No? Okay, cool. So what kind of connections, if any, did you guys see to like the gospel or the book we've been reading or anything else?
Hmm.
Think about that.
Well, I have to say this. I loved the part at the very beginning where their one store is like flooding with water and they're all there like bailing out the water. And he kind of talks about how it was a turning point where they kind of had to decide if they were going to fight for this or not. And I think, at least for me, as I read that, that's how our lives get sometimes. Sometimes we get bogged down with trials or questioning our faith or experiences that just kill us. And we have to decide in those moments if we're going to fight and, endure to the end or give up. And that's why ultimately at the end of reading this case, I'm like, I got to go check this place out because I loved the fight in those guys, the fight for this dream and this fight. They're scrappy guys, man. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's mine.
No, that's good. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, I like that.
Let me think. I didn't think about how it relates to the gospel when I was reading it, so hold on.
I know.
No.
Me neither.
The thought keeps coming to my mind, like good, better, best. I think all of these options that are facing are good, like could help them. They have potential, but I don't know. I guess figuring out the best one and putting your time towards what's best, whether it be for your customer or for your employees' lives or whatever.
What comes to my mind is doing, like, making sure your actions match what you believe or like what you plan. Making sure things are in harmony, not contradicting each other to where you want to end up.
Yeah. I feel like Kennedy wasn't afraid to reach out for help as well when he needed it.
Mhm.
And a lot of people reached out to him, like old college buddies, say, hey, let me give you a loan, or like, I want to invest and stuff like that. So he wasn't afraid to like trust others, and when he saw opportunities like that, he went for it. He saw that they were good. And so I guess the same applies to us. Like, we should like use those around us for our benefit and for theirs as well. Like, help them if they need it. Like, reach out to them as well. So something.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, do you guys want to know what they ended up doing?
Yes.
If you haven't looked already while we were all meeting.
Wait,
Um.
Ray, do you want to give a guess?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your
I
prediction? Your prophecy.
I don't know. I just know what I want. They didn't do it right away, but they did eventually.
They didn't what franchise?
Like not
Or-
immediately, but they eventually did.
All
I don't
right.
know. That's my guess.
So they did end up franchising. I think now I didn't write it down and now I can't find the tab that it's under. But I kind of think they started franchising in 2003.
Oh,
Um,
right away.
Yeah. But they didn't like turn everything over to franchising. It was kind of like a slow process, and like on their website it says that they still have over 450 stores that like they own themselves, and then they have some franchise, but they have like all their franchise, like their franchising criteria on their website, and it kind of looks intense. I mean, I've never seen the criteria for any other company's franchising, so I don't really know, but it does talk a lot about like being passionate about the brand,
Yeah.
and like understanding the culture and appreciating like the food and the teamwork, and like being driven and having like all these good values, like the ones that they talked about in the case. And so I thought that was really cool because I feel like, I don't know, if I were in charge of that aspect of it, like I would want to make sure that people meet that criteria and like understand where the company is coming from if they're going to franchise. So yeah, there you go. There was also like, I read some different articles of like interviews that they've had with different people from corporate, and they explain how like the people that are going to franchise have to like have really good work ethic and like be hard workers, and they get trained on a lot of things that's like super rigorous training on some things, but then absolutely no training on other things where they need to have more like of a personal, like genuine touch. So that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, there you go. So they franchised.
Nice.
Nice. I'm looking at the markets currently available. Utah and Idaho are not available.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, they have like a whole list of places you can and can't franchise.
yeah, it's like, it's interesting, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just like all the
All
research
the
that goes
different-
on, and
Mm-hmm. When they say like, where did I just read that? A typical area development agreement requires 3 to 10 restaurants to be built over a period of 3 to 5 years.
That's pretty
This
typical, though.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
I don't know much about franchising.
My ex-father-in-law looked into doing that with some extra capital so he could avoid capital gains tax, and you've got to open like 3 or 4 stores.
Whoa.
It's pretty cool.
man. Cool. Well, does anyone have any last comments, thoughts, complaints? All right.
Nope.
Well,
Enjoy Thanksgiving.
awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you.
week.
So, I guess really quick though, since I ran the discussion last week, who wants to run?
Yeah, and I was going to bring that
In
up
2
too, because we have less than 12 and 13 still.
Yeah.
I think those are the last 2. So I'll take one of them.
I thought we didn't have a group meeting for the last one, though.
That's the
So
14th.
that's 14. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think we have
just
it
kidding.
for not 11, but then 12 and 13, not
Well,
14.
not this next Thursday, but then 2
The
more.
following.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'll take one, I guess, even though I'm a crappy leader. I need
No,
practice.
You're a fine leader.
I can do one too if you want to. If you need it.
And Tan never contact you because I got a hold of him. Like
Who?
I said I would. Tan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I told him to contact you, Jasmine.
What?
Yeah.
I
Like, tell
said,
Jasmine.